All right, another pod on the horizon here for you all on this fine Wednesday. I feel like my mouth is getting dry. I talked a lot on this podcast, but a lot to talk about between the hot dog challenge from this past Saturday, which went nothing like I thought it would. Ate a lot more dogs, ran a lot more than I thought I would. I think Ty would agree.
For sure.
I think the one who thought it was the easiest was Jack, who was supposed to be punished in this whole thing. So funny how that works out. But definitely talked a lot about that, and thank you again for all the support. Then we got into the Mallards versus Preds series with Old Man Tom having a breakout performance, the Mallards taking it home, punching their ticket. Ryan Kracht joins us to share his thoughts from the Preds side of the ball, and then to wrap things up, we give our keys to the series for the second and final semifinal between the Gators and the Eagles. So without further ado, this is the Pipe It Up podcast, and cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Waffle Ball. We are about 21 or 22 hot dogs heavier this week. Ty wearing his costume. Do you feel shame?
Yes, I do.
A little bit?
Feel shame.
Mm-hmm. Why did you think it was a good idea to have dinner before you were potentially going to be eating hot dogs live for 70 plus viewers?
Well, I don't think it was a good idea. I highly underestimated the amount of donations and the amount of hot dogs that I myself would be eating. So I thought I'd cruise in there, already on a full stomach, put down one or two dogs and have a good night. That was not the case.
Not the case at all.
I am ashamed of that performance, and I will get my get back sometime soon. So be prepared for that. But yeah,
okay, so
that's all I gotta say.
So you're out for vengeance.
I am.
At some point.
I'll get this challenge done one way or another.
Well, I do want to talk about the fan support we saw and just the ups and downs of the stream. I definitely participated more than I thought I would from an eating perspective. But first, I want the three of us to give a round of applause for Jack Agner, an absolute menace. Didn't even flinch 9 dogs later that were fully loaded with mac and cheese. What else do we have? Coney dogs. We had Chicago dogs. Jack he only ate one light hot dog, and he took it down like an absolute champ. How are you feeling, Jack, 48 hours later?
I think I'm good now. Sunday was rough. Did not feel good at all, if I'm being honest. But, I appreciate the round of applause. I think I said it plenty of times on the stream, but Tommy was clearly the MVP of this stream. The guy was, when he wasn't cooking me a hot dog, he was slamming his own hot dog. When he wasn't doing that, he was running a mile in the middle of the night. It was, an unbelievable performance from the guy who, it wasn't even supposed to be his challenge. It was supposed to be my punishment, my challenge. He ended up eating almost just as many hot dogs as I did, and also ran a mile on top of it, and hosted it, and bought all the ingredients, and cooked all the hot dogs. So if there's a round of applause in order, it's definitely for TC3. And then on top of it, the video dropping before where you're just popping off in the video. It was a TC3 weekend.
I guess it was, in a sense. You're too kind for the compliments, Jack, but I truthfully I know you won the challenge. The intent wasn't to steal your thunder. Of course, when we're generating any sort of content and people are spending their, valuable, precious time watching us on a Saturday night, I want to give them a good show, but that was never the intention. I figured that you would struggle more than you did, and I thought that probably a couple donations for support would trickle in, innings 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, and then I figured they would dwindle down. I thought I'd eat probably 3 or 4 hot dogs and, make some jokes alongside you and haggle you throughout your final few innings, but boy, was I wrong. The Pipe It Up faithful really delivered and far exceeded my expectations. And it seemed like from the start there was some sort of plot happening in the background. I don't know if it was in a Discord channel, if it was in a group chat on Instagram, a text thread, I don't know, but it seemed like there was a coordinated effort to make sure that I ate the maximum amount of dogs possible, and people seemed to enjoy that. So if someone had to get some enjoyment at my expense, so be it. I'm glad I was able to provide some entertainment. I think I probably struggled more than Jack did. I don't know if it was a physical preparation, the mental preparation, but it wasn't as bad as the waffles in terms of like what I put my body and mind through. But by the ninth inning, that dog was not easy to get down. As we have another dog entering the room, please bring that in for Mr. Frensnick here.
Oh,
who did not finish the challenge.
Awesome.
There's your punishment, dog. You enjoy that.
Thanks,
enjoy that
Kyle.
plain glizzy.
All right. I completely thought you guys would forget about that.
That's what I said to Kyle. I said he's gonna think we totally forgot about the dog.
I totally didn't eat anything before this.
There you go. Got his little punishment dog.
We'll put that down for you guys.
Yep. You have to. It's only right. See, yeah, pull that mic away.
What was that, Kyle? I am a mustard guy. We're gonna have some. All right.
Get the guy some mustard.
We're gonna get some mustard.
Don't get any mustard on my hot dog suit.
I won't.
And by the way, that was not something I had to buy for the stream. Of course, I already had a hot dog suit in my arsenal, in my closet. It's never a bad thing to have on hand. You never know in life when you're going to need a hot dog suit. And when this stream came up, I was like, oh, I got my hot dog suit ready to go.
Yeah, and there actually is already mustard on it.
You go on Amazon. This isn't sponsored. That's the best $20 you can spend is a hot dog costume.
It's a good
That's
costume.
a quality costume for $20.
Yeah. Yeah,
Especially
for sure.
with that hat on.
Okay.
I've never worn it with the hood.
You probably get a lot of uses out of it. You could say an abundance.
Oh,
of uses.
jokester over here. Real jokester.
I was thinking about that in the car. I was like, I got abundance. I'm going to fit it into a joke at some point during this.
Oh, no mustard.
No mustard. That's okay.
No
We'll
mustard.
Right,
no mustard, Phyllis.
I'll get
Famous
working
words
on
from Michael
this.
Scott. Jack, I want to talk about you. It was your challenge. You lost the bet. Let's not forget that, despite the outcome of the stream. Compare it. Give it to me for those who didn't tune in, which you can still watch it back if you guys missed it. It's on YouTube. If you go to our YouTube channel and are on the live tab, you can see it. Compare it to the waffles for me. How was it different physically, mentally, maybe the aftermath? How did this one differ from that famous day in Ohio?
I think the waffles definitely prepared me, like just knowing what that was going to feel like, and how to mentally battle through. I think that definitely helped me lock in prior to the hot dog challenge, just like getting in the zone and like getting in the mindset. But I honestly don't think it compared like at all. Really like the I don't know what the calorie difference is, but the mental part of like seeing one hot dog and knowing you can probably take it down in like 4 bites versus getting a waffle slapped down on the table and it's like it looks like a mountain of food like that you have to try to take down. I feel like that psyche, that made a difference. I think spacing out over the innings actually helped me. In a disgusting way, I said it on the stream, but in a disgusting way, I really enjoyed the first 6 hot dogs, if I'm being quite honest. 7, 8, and 9 were kind of a grind, but the first 6 went down pretty easy. So the feeling at 9, I felt was like probably the feeling I had at like waffle number 3.5, maybe, or like 4, if I'm like remembering correctly. So I think the Waffle House challenge was like way, way harder, in my opinion.
Yeah, as Ty over here is finishing off the dog. Looks like the bun might have got a little stale on you. That's okay. They're from Saturday. Yeah, you crushed it. And I was eating alongside you. I think really, Jack, it was just the nutritional contents of the waffle challenge. When you're talking about a sugary batter topped with a sugary syrup and then butter.
Yeah.
And nothing else in between. No real source of protein. There was no nothing there. It was, I like waffles. I'm not going to say I don't. I'd argue I might like a waffle in the morning more than I like a hot dog cooked on a panini press. But it was just, again, I said it on the stream. You guys can go watch it back. There's a clip of it. There was a moment in time with the waffles where I reached a point. It was almost like in my brain where my body experienced a feeling from food that I've never experienced in my life before that nor after. And I didn't experience that on Saturday. And I think it was like maybe all the sugar. I'm not quite sure. But the dogs, like I just felt like I was really full and just kind of forcing myself to keep eating. The waffles, it was less fullness and like my body was just like my saliva wasn't breaking down the waffles anymore. It was my body was just like, no. Like, do not put any more of this in your system. So I thought the hot dogs were much better. I enjoyed the first few dogs. Did you have a favorite dog? I think I know your answer, but I just wanted to confirm what your favorite one was of the specialty dogs.
Yeah, the Chicago dog, hands down. I mean, Tom made a mean Chicago dog. I think I easily could have had 9 of those, like just straight Chicago dogs. That probably would have been easier because I felt like I ate a lot of mac and cheese.
Well, let's be clear.
Which was not my favorite.
Let's be clear, they were not Chicago dogs because there was no celery salt, Jack. No celery salt. I screwed the pooch on the celery salt.
Right, sorry. Minus the celery
no
salt.
No celery salt. We'll learn for the future. But overall, it was a tremendous stream. You know, the mile happened at the end, of course. I said on Instagram in the comment section, some of you might have saw it, that I sold my soul for the chat. You know, I kind of did. You know, we're a small budget podcast, and you guys are so nice to contribute, to support, and donate so we can, you know, keep this thing running and get some new infrastructure. We got a broken ring light over here and a broken tripod. We got a broken tripod that this phone sits on, and things like that, you know, that this really helps with throughout the course of a year where we pour all our resources into this live stream. And to see the donations coming in just far exceeds the expectations. And again, so I see the number value and I get excited and I'm like, people want us to run a mile? Here's an offer for you. And then as soon as I said it, Ty goes, that's a dangerous game, Tom. And Sure enough, you know, we hit the milestone, $1,000 donated. Thank you guys so much. Before I even talk about the mile, I do want to give a couple shout outs here. First of all, everyone that tuned in, whether you donated or not, just thank you for watching. Those of you who are watching, you know, we appreciate it. It keeps us motivated and keeps the engine running to pipe it up. And those that did donate, of course, thank you for going the extra mile and supporting us further. It's very just shocking to see, you know, how much you guys enjoy the content and are willing to spend your hard-earned money to help us go further. You know, just by watching, that does help us out with the ad revenue and stuff like that. But to go further and donate is so great. So some of these folks here I listed donated, some of them didn't. These are just names that I saw in the chat quite a bit. I'm sure I missed a few, but Nash Walters, AJ from AJ Plays, Matthew Madigan, Landon Brumfield, Asa Mattis, Dylan from Dylan M. Wiffleball on Instagram, Noah Duzinski, Dark, and Isaac, who is just Ike3. Those are some of the names that I saw in the Instagram comments throughout the live stream, throughout the night. I know I missed a couple of you, or I may have... I may know you and not recognize your YouTube name, but just thank you all for the support. I wanted to give a special shout out there. So yeah, I made an offer to the chat. I said, if we hit this number, I'm going to run the mile. And then we hit that number and I'm like, it's pitch black outside. How are we going to do this? Like, we're live streaming off of Wi-Fi. We're going to lose signal. This might not be the safest thing to do. But then I'm looking at Jack. I'm like, we have to do this. People donated to see this. We don't really have a choice. So I laced up the sneaks and hoofed it for what I think was over a mile. I didn't actually map it out, but I think I was running for about 11 minutes. And I kind of know I'm not a big runner, Jack, to answer your question. I saw there was a clip in the car where you said, like, it looks like he's done this once before. He gets out here, but I really haven't run in probably since the spring. And the right calf is sore. Left calf is fine. Overall, the legs are fine. The right calf is as tight as could be. Not sure what happened there. But the right calf is quite tender, and then whatever muscle sits above my shin on the left-hand side is tender to the touch as well. So I'm feeling it a little bit. I'd say I clocked in about 1.15, 1.2 miles for the stream. And again, it's just to show my appreciation for everyone who supports us, and I hope you guys found it entertaining. I know it was fun. It's a little bit of prep work for us. I was getting my content creator shoes back on, making the thumbnail. I had fun doing that. I thought it turned out pretty good, and I don't know. Final thoughts. Levi, you were tuned in. Ty, you were a part of it. What were your thoughts on your first stream experience?
My final thoughts, first of all, are hold on.
From you. Set that down. You got your headphones on. Headphones on. Headphones on. Where's he going? Ditching the plate? Oh, showing the cam. Showing the cam is clean plate. He ate the dog. I can vouch for him.
Okay, anyways, you guys see that? Clean plate club. That's the 5th dog that I did not get down. But we got it down now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, overall, stream was awesome. Thank you guys all for all that support. Totally underestimated that from you guys. So very appreciative of that. Had a good time. Levi, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I was really disappointed I couldn't be there, but I do got to ask Jack a question.
Okay, fire away.
I got up for work probably around 6 o'clock on Sunday, and there was already a text in the group chat from Jack saying, I woke up as thirsty as I've ever been in my life. And I was praying for you, Jack. I'm like, it's 6 a.m. He's already texting the group chat. How was the night for you, Jack? I mean, right after that, all those dogs.
It wasn't. I was not comfortable falling asleep, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, probably like 2:30, and I was like, my throat. I felt like a mummy. Like I had to get water immediately.
That's so good.
And then the 6 o'clock. That was my daughter. That wasn't because I woke up. That was just parenthood. But
yeah.
You
were thirsty nonetheless.
Duty called, so I was awake, and I was thirsty again. Yeah.
Well, Jack, I read off the hot dog specs, and I noted the sodium, and yeah, I also woke up to chug water probably 2 or 3 times throughout the night. I didn't get to bed till about 1 a.m. By the time I cleaned up some stuff, got everything in order in the house, moved some equipment back around, and I slept. Shockingly, I slept through the night. Like, I didn't wake up until 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I haven't slept in that late in probably a year. And I was so thirsty, and then I looked in the mirror, and you wake up and you're kind of, you don't look, I don't think anyone else around you would notice, but like you wake up and you kind of usually have some bags under your eyes. You look a little groggy. So I kind of felt that way. I looked in the mirror, and my roommate was outside the bathroom, sitting in our dining area, and I was like, oh, my face is puffy, kind of joking around. And then he's a nutrition guy. He studied nutrition in college, and he's studying to become working nurse anesthesia now. But so he knows a little bit about nutrition and ingredients and how that affects your body. So he knew about the hot dog challenge, of course. So I'm like, oh, my face is a little puffy. And then I kind of walked to the kitchen table with a bowl of cereal, and he goes, oh my gosh, Tom, your face is a little puffy. It's all that sodium. Your body must not like it. He's like, your eyes, like your cheeks look super full right now. And it was just funny because I was kind of joking, and then he burst out laughing and noticed too. So Jack sent me a Snapchat, and maybe it was just the angle, but I said, your cheeks look full too, Jack. So I don't know. My body wasn't the happiest. It seemed like it was a little, my cycle, my bodily cycle was a little off if you're catching my drift here, but it seems like things are back to normal today. And what a stream. Just fun to be a part of. Glad you guys are willing to spend your Saturday night with us, and I'm curious what you guys think we should do next. I don't know. We haven't done like a spicy challenge yet, but I think the endurance ones are an experience. But we've always done food. I don't know what else we would do.
Spicy ones are fun. Like, I feel like that's good content to watch too.
Yeah, but could you do spicy foods for 3 hours straight? Probably not.
It's kind of rough, but like sitting there watching somebody just like really struggle with spicy food, it's good stuff. Levi wants to. I can tell over there.
Oh yeah,
Levi, I heard this might not be true. This is all alleged information. Is the reason you did not come to the stream because you had to work at 6 a.m. the next day? Don't lie.
It's what you told me.
I will say that was one of the reasons.
Levi, man, you got to put on your big boy pants and get out there and then just get up early in the morning.
I
You
know.
missed out on a great time. You could have had some dogs and helped out Ty.
Oh, Levi, get this. I had to drive home from Tommy's house, no directions, 'cause my phone died. Like right as I left, and I had to just navigate my way like home.
You made it?
I made it, yeah.
Jeez.
It was rough.
That is a little unsafe.
So I'm pulling out of Tommy's house. My phone's at like 5, and I have my directions on. And because I usually don't drive from like Detroit area, like 96 and stuff, so I'm not like super familiar with it. But my phone's at 5, and I was like, okay, my phone can't die because then my Life 360 is gonna be off, and my mom will be all worried. So I turned my phone off. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll just figure out how to get there. And then I'm like going down, and I tap my phone to make sure it's still alive, and it was dead. So I'm like, well, now we're just gonna have to like figure it out on our own.
Oh boy.
But no, I made it. You just head west until I got to Brighton, and then I,
Smart.
got off. But
Smart guy.
yeah, no, it would have been great having Levi there to help me with that, but it's okay.
Yeah,
He'll be there next time.
The dogs will be ready for you next year or whatever it ends up being.
I was dodging.
You were dodging the dogs. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any good ideas yet for like a food endurance challenge. I wouldn't mind switching it up. We mentioned the cooking challenge thing. Also, cooking the dogs was a much bigger time commitment than I thought it was. I will say I wasn't on screen a lot because I was in the kitchen half the time, but live and learn. I don't know, Jack, do you have any ideas on a challenge you would want to try in the future? Or challenge for these youngsters,
I'm
perhaps?
definitely down to not do something food endurance related. Although I will say the length of having people commit to being with us for like 3+ hours or whatever the stream was, just you don't get the epic moments in the stream if you're not in it for like the long
I
haul.
agree.
Like if we did like a spicy thing and it was only like, 30 minutes or whatever, like I don't think there's nearly as much, I don't know, it's just not as epic. Like going through that whole stream and getting like, the donations at the time we got them, and just being like surprised by that, and you running the mile like at the end, like you just don't get that stuff, I don't think, if you don't do some form like longer format stream. So I don't know, maybe thinking about ways that we could put a 2.5 3 hour stream on that's got some competition, that's some form of like, hey, you don't want to do this because you don't want to lose the challenge. That's not related to eating food.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's some sort of sporting thing or, some sort of physical endeavor. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing I just thought of, I'll leave you guys with this for food for thought. You can think of something similar. I saw this for a fantasy football punishment. I think it's being considered for one of my leagues that I'm in. It's bowling related, which again, we'd have to figure out logistics of how to actually live stream that. But essentially, let's say it's a pair, or let's just say one person for the sake of this discussion. We could make it for multiple people in the future, but say it's one person and the target score is 300. That's what you need to bowl in a single game is 300. Obviously, none of us in here can bowl a 300. We're not Dallas Allen. But like for every hour you're at the bowling alley, 10 pins come off. For every slice of pizza you eat, 5 pins come off. For every like Pepsi you drink, another 5 pins come off. So those are all accumulating values to drop your score from 300. So eventually your score only needs to be like, 180 and see if you can hit that. And things, maybe every game you bowl is another 10 pins off. So just like endurance that way to where you start at a high number and then the more things you do makes that score more attainable. Does that make sense, Jack?
I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot.
That'd be interesting for sure. But again, we'd have to figure out like how to get a bowling alley to let us do that, and then we probably have to get microphones so that the audio is clear and you're just not just hearing everybody else around the bowling alley. I don't know, things like that. I think we could put a little spin on, like have it be a sport with like an achievement, but then also have things along the way to help you. Maybe donations factor in to support the live stream or to donate something. And we could tie something to charity too. There's all kinds of things you can do. So I know this gets us all excited. And these guys were joking about like, God, we got to do more live streams. I'm like, guys, this is fantastic the way it is right now. We can definitely do more if you guys want a couple more a year for sure. And it's not all about the money either. It's fun to do, and you guys seem to really enjoy them. But I'm like, don't expect the stream to come in with this amount of donations if we did this weekly. There's a reason why everyone comes in with the nukes once a year. So again, just want to hammer home, thank you all for your support. It does mean a lot to us, and it helps us a lot get through the next year with the donations. So I think that's an official end scene conclusion on this year's Pick'em Bet. Jack, better luck next year, buddy. You got to know ball better. That's all I got to say.
That's right. That's
gotta
right.
learn ball. But all right, speaking of ball, Kracht is going to be joining us here in about 10 minutes. Up until that point, I did want to first transition with an ad. And this ad deserves a drum roll. We haven't had an ad all season, but I got to keep a promise to Tim Whalen, commissioner of ShedBall. As a part of our deal, I said once ShedBall episodes are up and running on YouTube and being uploaded, I got you with another ad to kick things off. So at long last, for all you've been listening all year long last year, ShedBall Season 1, Episodes 3 and beyond are live on YouTube. I think Episode 6 went up last week. And if you're not familiar with ShedBall, ShedBall is another creator sports league like MLW, but instead of wiffle ball, they play indoor mini basketball in a shed. The first 6 episodes of Season 1 are now live on YouTube, with new episodes coming every Wednesday. Please go check them out at youtube.com/@playshedball for some hilariously serious interviews, commentary, and gameplay. Shout out to Tim. Shout out Fuzzy Frank. I am trying to recruit Fuzzy Frank for maybe a World Series prediction. We'll see. Wouldn't mind Fuzzy Numbies one last time next week, World Series prediction. So we'll see if we can make it happen. But again, you guys support us. You supported us on the live stream. Please go check out ShedBall. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Check out their last video. See what it's all about. So we'd really appreciate that. And thank you again to ShedBall for all the support throughout the 2024 MLW season. So on to the series. Before Kracht gets here, a couple things. Obviously, Preds Mallards semifinal. Mallards win. in a 2-game sweep. High scoring series. The scores were 4-2 Mallards and 6-4 Mallards. A lot of home run balls. The Mallards offense finally woke up in the postseason, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts, but that was the first thing that I wanted to say was, I'm proud of my guys for showing up when it mattered with the bats. We were 11 for 26 in this series. Here's some numbies for you guys. Speaking of numbies, 11 for 26 in this series. That's a team average of 423. The other 3 seasons with Robles in the playoffs. In 2022, we were 5 for 47. That's 106 average. In 2023, we were 4 for 29. That's a 138 average. And in 2024, we were 8 for 47. That's a 170 average. So massive improvement. Finally delivered and did it. And I'm excited. I'm excited to say the least.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, I got to say, really coming into this series, and I don't mean, don't take this in any sort of way, but coming into the series, were you kind of feeling like, all right, my team has to play good and I get a free trip to LA? And, now after it, it's like you're going to LA to be the heart and soul of that lineup. You had, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, 5 consecutive hits and 5 at-bats, which is really hard to do in MLW, almost impossible to go, especially off of Cy Young candidate Ryan Kracht. Very impressive. I just want to get your thoughts on going into the day. Did you think that you kind of would make Kev Dog's birthday wish come true?
I would love to still. But no, I was not looking for a free trip because I knew what was at stake here. Obviously I haven't been a big role player for the Mallards this year. I really haven't been in the lineup too much. I've missed 2 series, one due to a bachelor party, one due to a work trip. And then even when I've been there, I've usually been going with Robles, Jorgensen, Flood, and Preston Colm. It's just because I think those are the best 4 guys that we had. Now, with T. Flood being out for this series, and I knew that going into it, I put some pressure on me to prepare. And big shout out to Jorgie. He's kind enough to, he's met me a couple times after our work days, and we played a little one-on-one. And, I'm not good at pitching. So really it's, he's spending time to help me get better, and it's probably not making him much better besides his pitching practice. I'm not really giving him quality at bats from a hitting perspective for Jorgie. I'm trying, but I just don't have it in the arm anymore. So lo and behold, we practiced a couple times before the series, made a couple adjustments. I feel like my swing still isn't where it used to be. I still look like my weight shift isn't very good, and I'm finishing kind of too much weight on my back leg. But either way, the contact was way up. Hit a couple balls hard, found a hole a couple times, and I wouldn't say like I was the reason we scored all those runs, but they weren't outs. I was getting on base, which was a difference between the previous series. And I want to ask Ryan, too, when he gets on about how he approached me, because I'm not saying he was sandbagging or anything, but maybe his command wasn't the best that day, or he just was trying to attack me and assumed I wasn't going to make contact. But, I was kind of sitting on the 2-seamer, and he was just putting it right there for me time and time again in game 2. And I was attacking early in the count when the ball was right there. When I struck out in game 1 a couple times, he was getting ahead of me quickly, and then I was swinging at pitches outside the strike zone. So I was able to command the at-bats, got some pitches that were very much hittable. And even though I haven't made much contact this year, for whatever reason, whatever practice that we did seemed to make a difference. So I'm happy I was getting on base and contributing instead of hurting us, So
this is kind of another, no offense on this, Tom, but that first game, I feel like you weren't really seeing the ball well. So what,
okay.
you kind of already answered this, but what adjustments did you make heading into game 2 that just made you go off? 5 hits in a row, coming off that game 1 with no hits.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I made any major adjustments in game 2 besides, I had seen Ryan in 2 at-bats, so I guess my timing was more dialed in. I knew how the ball was moving that day, but in practice, the only adjustment I made was I used to make fun of guys, and I've said this before on this podcast, but I would poke jokes at guys like Noah Daberco, and the guys that would play sort of when MLW was less competitive, that didn't have very good swings, never played baseball and had a really unconventional swing. Because I did play baseball, and I had a better-looking baseball swing.
That would be me.
Jack Agner, good example. But, Jack, what I kind of learned, too, in my years when I was hitting really well for power, 2022, 2023, is, sometimes the best baseball swing isn't necessarily the best wiffle ball swing for, when true power doesn't matter. You need the right launch angle and the right contact, but, you're not you need to put a lot behind a swing to hit it over the fence. It's all about, where you're hitting it on the bat, and the angle at which you're launching it. So my swing over the years has definitely adjusted to wiffle ball. I've lost the muscle memory of swinging a baseball bat right-handed, 100,000 times growing up. It's evolved slowly, just like a golf swing gets worse and worse over the years if you're not getting lessons and paying attention to your mechanics. So I definitely have lost it over the last 2 years. It still, again, looked different. But in practice, one thing I've known from pictures, from videos, is my hands are drifting way too far, like over the zone. Like I'm extending this way and then trying to swing, and it's like the path of my bat is not straight through the strike zone to maximize contact. Like if you watch 2023, I was pretty good at that. And I was intentional about it. Matt Carlington was helping me with that. And now it's like way too quick to the zone. Like I have no hitting zone for the bat. It's like I need to be perfect in the right spot at the right time. So I tried to not let my hands drift and just go straight to the ball. And that seemed to lead to more contact. So from games 1 to 2, there was no real adjustment. It was all before the series. Just started to see some results in the second game.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you have any really specific things strategy wise that you were focusing on against the Preds, Tom? And then also, was there any point in game 2, with that cushion, and then the Preds kind of starting to come back, was there any thought to go to, either Colm or Jorgensen? I know there was maybe one mound visit in there, but just curious to get your thoughts on the overall series and then specifically that aspect in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation to go to Jorgie or Colm was definitely had before the series. Like we knew the situations where that might come into play. But the way that we were commanding the series and the way we jumped out to an early lead there in game 2, I thought it was best to stick with Robles. I knew he would pound the zone. And I kept telling him, just limit the walks, man. They might hit a solo shot or two, but we're up 4-0 in this game already, or whatever it was for the first inning, 4 or 5-0. Let's just, pound strikes. If they beat you with a solo shot or two, that's fine. But I don't see a world where they're going to hit 5 solo home runs, So I was definitely nervous, Jack. Like strategy-wise, I feel like before, I would talk to my guys a lot more during a series like this one, or prepare more with texts and analyzing their squad. Throughout the season, we were successful, and they won games when I was not there. So I was like, let me just let everyone play a little looser this year. I'm not going to make this seem any different. I'm going to, know my role here. I'm the captain, but also I'm not the big bat anymore. I'm not the big arm anymore. I'm very much like a 4-hitter in this lineup. Let me go up there and try to contribute, and then I'm going to keep kind of letting Jorgie lead things along with myself like we've been doing all year, and let these guys play the game. So it was nerve-wracking, being on the sidelines watching from the picnic table there at the Meadows while the game was, we were on our heels, truthfully, and I do think if we had lost game 2, that the odds would have been against us in game 3, just because it seemed like they were getting to Robles pretty good. So when we were on our heels, we needed to win it right there, and I just stuck with them, and props to Robles for being resilient. It's tough to stay mentally tough in wiffle ball when things aren't going your way, especially with Robles, who plays in so many different styles. And, some days is a big fan of how things are going in MLW. Some days he gets frustrated because he's used to playing a certain way for so many years, and I try to keep him level-headed. But this year he really proved that he was capable of, staying headstrong and getting it done. So I'm really happy for the team, more so than for myself. Like you mentioned, a free trip to LA. I'm not thinking about that at all. I'm thinking about Robles, who's traveled here for all these years and has played so good. And then we just have been putting up efforts that are just not enough in the playoffs. So I'm really happy for the squad to get a crack at a World Series and to bring home the trophy.
Yeah, I just wanted to also kind of give the Predators some props. I think maybe they would disagree, but I don't necessarily think of the Predators as a comeback team. I feel like when they win, they're usually pretty dominant. And so when they took that deficit early in game 2, I wasn't really expecting them to claw all the way back, and they made it a really, really competitive game there. And then Tom, I mean, you did have 5 you had 5 hits in that game, but I think you had the last RBI, or maybe it was the 5th RBI or something. It was a very clutch time for you to come up with a hit there and kind of preserve that lead for the Mallards. So I did want to kind of just give the Predators their props there, but we are being joined by none other than the co-manager, one of the co-managers of the Pacific Predators here, Ryan Kracht. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's a true honor to be in the presence of an MVP. True honor.
It is true honor. First question, because we're getting a lot of murmurs. Tom is wondering, were you sandbagging when you were pitching against Tommy in this series?
No, dude. Tom had my number. Here's the thing, okay? MLW is a 15-game season, right? Tom, you were at the Meadows how many times? 3 times?
Well,
4 times?
2 at the Meadows, 1 in New York.
1 in New York. Okay, you played in 3 series. People forget what is a slump. You don't realize what is actually going on in front of you, right? People are like, saw 3 bad series from Tom. They're like, yeah, this guy stinks. And it's not that way at all. That's not how this works. It's just 3 or 9 bad games. I mean, he might not even have played on all 9. So when Tom had those hits in that series, I wasn't shocked at all. And there was no game plan like, all right, pitch around this guy to get to Tommy. That's never been how it is. It's
Wouldn't
just,
blame you, though.
That's how MLW is. It takes 2 or 3 bad days for everybody to be like, yeah, this guy's washed, retired now. Like, that's really how it is. So it's different, you know?
Yeah, I was telling them, like, in game 1, you got ahead of me in the counts, and then you had me right where you wanted me, and I was just looking like I had no chance. But game 2, you were giving me the 2 seams to my surprise. Maybe the command wasn't there. I want you to comment on that. But early in the count, I was getting it, and I was hitting it. But I know you were mixing in the drop. I call it a curveball from you just because of the way you throw it. But curveball, a couple of risers. How did you feel about your command that day? Was it not what you had hoped, or do you think like a tip to the cap to the Mallards?
It was definitely a tip of the cap to the Mallards, and that's like there is no way I could go through talking about that series without saying that. Like, you guys raked. I mean, you guys on all cylinders were firing. The thing was, and I don't know why, but it was either like I missed the strike zone or I hit the exact middle of the strike zone. Like, I normally, like, what I thrive on in MLW is my movement isn't all that crazy. I just can hit the corners, try and stay on the outside half, all that stuff. I didn't have that. And so in that moment, in those times right there, I was like, trying to get to the outside corner, but then I'd leave it right over the middle. And then, you or Preston or Robles would hit it. And it's just like, gosh, like it was just a real whirlwind, and it was tough, especially to be in the playoffs in that big of a spot and not have it. But like I said, like, we don't play 9 innings. You don't get time to figure it out. By the time you start figuring it out, it's game 2 and you're in the last inning. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So it is really tough, especially in a sport that, like I said, is 3 innings long. I mean, you're throwing 30 pitches in a game.
Mm-hmm.
You throw 3 bad pitches, and all of a sudden you're down 6-0. It looks like you got rocked. Like, that's how it is. It's just that simple.
I feel you.
Yeah, and Ryan, not saying you pitched bad or that you should have done this. Was there any thought in your mind about giving Porter the ball in that series?
I that was like the main reason I wanted to come on here, because I saw that's what everybody said.
Okay.
They were like, why is Porter not in? Why is Porter not in? Here's the thing. In game 1, I gave up a big home run to who did I get?
PK.
Preston.
Yeah.
Grand slam, right?
Yep.
And I said to Drew, I was like, we should go to Porter now. And Drew was like, just keep going for a little bit. Like, let's stick with it. Then Drew hit the home run, and then we started to kind of claw back in game 1. So I stayed in, and then it kind of game 1, just like I just kept moving through it, and it was okay, right? We didn't accept defeat, but I wasn't really like, after the big grand slam, like, and nothing crazy was happening at that point. Just a lot of hits,
Yeah.
In game 2, if it wasn't our season on the line, I mean, this kid is 15.
Right.
It's giving him the ball with your season on the line is so tough. He's so young. And it for me, it's like I really do believe Evan could be the best pitcher in MLW. His movement's unreal. He's got great stuff. It's just putting him in that spot is a huge ask of a kid so young. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Playing against Jordan Robles, who's been playing wiffle ball longer than any of us have, not even close, So, I did want to put him in. I really did. But in that spot, it's just not the right thing to do, in my opinion, especially, if he goes out there and he struggles. It's just like terrible for confidence. You know what I mean? Like Porter will be the face of the Predators someday. Him and Levi will carry that team, but you have to build them up to get there. You can't just throw them into the fire. You know what I mean? That's not going to work. So yes, I wanted to pitch him. I really did, and I knew that I was getting rocked. I'm not stupid. Like I was there. I felt it, but putting him in that spot is tough, and it really is tough, and it's a very hard thing to do, especially with a kid so young.
Jack, just as a hypothetical scenario, do you have any advice for Ryan if he ever did need to put a 15-year-old on the mound with the season on the line?
And if he was like 2.5 feet shorter, if he was a lot shorter. Yeah, right. Right.
Say a prayer and then don't watch.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I'll never forget. Sorry, that was just funny because I'll never forget the first game RJ showed up and he must have thrown 40 warm-up pitches and did not hit the zone one time.
I remember that
podcast
like, too.
Well, there's no going back now. I mean, we're just going to put him out there and see what happens. And then, the rest is history. But
yeah, Ryan, I got a question for you. Obviously, I was there at the Meadows witness and everything, but I want to get your opinion on the team as a whole in their at-bats. And I feel like it was way, way better than the New York series, how we were seeing Robles. And it doesn't really show because we were playing from behind. But, what are your thoughts on the team just kind of rebounding? And I know you told us one thing before game 2 is like, you know what, you said we're going to wake up tomorrow and really regret if we, took the foot off the pedal. But, yeah, what did you think about the team and how we kind of rebounded game 2 and, hit the ball?
I mean, it was so impressive, going away from just me and you, Levi, but watching Drew and Justin really actually, like they played great. They really hit the ball. And like people like don't forget that Robles perfect gamed the Cobras like pretty much every time he faced them. So that was a huge step up for them. And it was something I had thought about initially when we were making this trade. Like, okay, if we play the Mallards, it's like it's going to take a lot. So I really did with Drew and Justin. Like I talked to him and like I was like, guys, forget about his name, forget about where he comes from, forget about all this. This is what he throws, this is what he wants to do, and that I need you to look at it that way. And they did, and so much props to them because they really did shine. Like they showed out, and it especially made me happy going into next season. I was just talking to Drew yesterday or 2 days ago. Watching back that video and feeling it in person, like in the bottom of the third with 2 outs in his last at bat. I mean, he was a centimeter away from ending that game. I mean, he was right there. He was right there. He was all over it, and he looked great all day. He just got caught chasing, and that's what Robles does so well. But I mean, I thought we all did very well against him. I struggled in game 1 really bad. I was 0-for-4 with 4 strikeouts. I mean, that guy, I haven't done that in a long time. But that's the Predator mindset. We don't give in. We learn from our mistakes, and that's something that like where I'm trying to like get everybody on board with. And you kind of saw it show out there. And like Jack said, even though we were very far behind, we clawed back. We fought. Like we did not go down without landing a punch or two. And that is what I'm trying to create here. That's kind of the culture I'm trying to build.
How hard? Because like it was kind of brought up in the post game with guys like Russell and Warda, being there, not playing in such a big series. You just mentioned how like Esh and Drew don't necessarily have a great history against Robles. Like how hard of a decision was it to set the lineup the way that you did, just with the history of the guys on the Predators and also that background knowledge?
So, it's tough. It's tough because here's my thing. It's when you put Warda and Brennan in against, I'm not going at you, but it's just, I'm thinking about it. You put him against a kid like RJ.
Mm-hmm.
RJ, no disrespect to him, I love that kid, doesn't know what home and away means in wiffle ball. So he doesn't think like a pitcher does in baseball. So stay with me here. Drew, Justin, Levi, they come from baseball backgrounds. And Robles, that's who he is. He's a pitcher. He doesn't just throw pitches with crazy movement. He really doesn't. He just pitches and he knows what he's doing. So for me, it wasn't that hard because I know that they can think backwards of like, okay, if I were him, what would I throw to me? Now, no disrespect on Warda and Brennan, they don't come from that background, so it's hard for them to feel that. Do you know what I mean? Like Warda did pitch in
Yeah.
MLW a while ago, no knock on that, but
Got a good duck hook on him.
it's a different style.
Slider,
It's
slider,
always-
slider,
Yeah,
slider,
that's right.
slider, riser,
And
slider.
it's always evolving. It's always evolving. So that it wasn't that hard. I kind of knew what I wanted to go with going into it, but it's like if we're playing a different team, if we're playing the Magic, then you throw Warda and Brennan in there because like it's all just random, and that's when they shine. But when you have Robles, a guy that can see weaknesses like that, I love those guys. But he'll show you what their weaknesses are, no question. I mean, that's what he's so good at. That's why he's the best player in the world, because he can read a hitter. He knows what he's really doing.
No, Ryan, I'll let Jack finish up his questions there, but I was going to say before you joined, I was talking about, I think it was before you joined, you guys sort of had us on our heels there in game 2 in a sense that I did not like our chances heading into the third game with you guys hitting Robles the way you were. It might have been a situation where we went to a different pitcher and hoped that the look change helped and our offense kept going. So you guys fought to the end. I was not feeling comfortable. And Drew specifically, I feel like he's a real weapon. I think it's good to have him sort of be a player on your team and not be a manager, because he was all over Robles. I mean, 2 home runs on the verge of a third. This is true. I was talking to Russell on the sidelines. Again, I told you guys I was trying to stay like not totally, but I was trying to let my guys play. I didn't want to be in their ear, making the situation more tense than it was, because it's gone south like that in the past. So when the game was sort of getting dicey for us in game 2, I pretty much stayed quiet on the sidelines. I had a couple mound visits just to go over strategy and things like that, but very monotone, trying to stay chill. And when Drew was up to bat, season on the line, bottom 3, I think there was a guy on, or maybe 2 guys on in the last inning, a chance to tie the game. Robles got him to 0-2, and I think Drew might have fouled off a pitch or 2. And I looked at Russell and I said, the biggest mistake Jordan can make right now is giving Drew anything remotely close to the zone. I mean, Drew's a swing-happy guy, and he was all over it near the zone. And I think actually the first 0-2 pitch that Robles threw, I forget if Kyle put the full at-bat in the video or not, I think it was fouled off. And I was like, oh,
He did, yeah.
Gosh.
He threw him a slide drop,
Yeah.
and that's the one I was texting
I was
Drew
like,
about. I mean, he was right there.
Gosh, that could have been so bad.
He was
And then the
right
next
there.
pitch he put out of the zone, and I was like, thank goodness. And I ran out there and celebrated. But yeah, Drew is a really good hitter. And I think you have, I mean, I love Alec and Brennan. I do. Veterans. And it's hard to part ways or, give up their spots in the lineup to newer faces. But your lineup is deep right now with Levi. We know what he's capable of. And then Drew and Esh with you as well. That's a solid offensive 4. That was not fun to face. I mean, any other year, like my team, I went over our numbers before you logged on. Like we're not getting 10 runs in 2 games in the postseason. That has not happened, even close. So any other year we lose that series and Robles is looked at the same way as he was before. Our offense just carried us through this series. So your offense is good. I think you guys are a very capable team with the roster you have right now to win a championship. It's like you said, it's just a couple innings that decide the fate of a season and who executes on that day. So, I mean, I wish you guys luck in the future. And I'm curious to see how Drew and Esh blossom into maybe, true stars in the Preds, because that's a scary 4 you got right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And I really am excited about them. They came in and not only helped me offensively, but defensively, which, as you guys know, was a huge area of improvement for us. I love Brennan and I love Warda, but, it is something we need. And so they came in and they stepped up. And yes, I totally agree with Drew finally kind of just being all the pressure off of his shoulders, just play left field and hit, forget about everything else. He is completely different, a completely different player. I even know just from playing against him for so long. So it's exciting. I really am excited about what we have to come next year, especially with Esh. I mean, that kid rakes. Levi has shown what he can do. Porter's going to be in the zone. I mean, it's a scary team, and I'm really excited about it. And I kind of had a feeling when we initially made the trade that it might take longer than just 3 or 4 series together. But I'm pumped about it. I'm very excited.
Yeah. I'm excited for you, Ryan. it definitely shook up the league. I was surprised when I heard about the trade, and it puts the Cobras in a really interesting spot where they have a crucial draft coming up. But if you're the Preds fan base, I think you got to be pretty happy right now with how things are shaping up. I do think Porter will take a leap next year, and I feel like you guys have a fantastic 1-2 punch with a former Cy Young winner and a future Cy Young winner. So thanks for joining the show. It was awesome playing against you guys. It was funny talking to your dad and you after the series. Like, sad to send you home, but of course I wanted my guys to win. That's the fun part about MLW is, the friendships you make over the years. Right. So pleasure having you out there, man. Best of luck next season. And again, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
All right. Thanks again to Mr. Kracht. What a series. Great series. Kyle, of course, extended the video. Had to throw a little teaser in there, making you guys think it'd be longer than it was. I saw that coming all the way. And all that's left now is to see who will be joining the Mallards in the World Series. Mm-hmm. So think about your guys' keys to that Eagles versus Gators series. Right now, I want to give us our comment of the week, and it comes from Hunter at the Alaska Wiffle Ball League. And he said, TC3 strolling in with the Pipe It Up music and getting a hit off of Kracht was pure cinema. And he time-stamped it. Shout out to Kyle. That was pretty funny when the intro music came in. And it was funny because when I'm watching it, like I heard it, I'm like, oh, this is the same song as Pipe It Up. And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait, he probably did that on purpose because I played pretty good. It didn't click in my head at first as to why he did that, but pretty funny stuff. Jack, I gotta finish the job for us, man.
Yeah, man. You got to do it. You got to bring it home for all of us here on the podcast.
Got to bring it home for the Pipe It Up faithful. But all right, Eagles Gators, keys to the series. Ty.
Keys to the series. Well, Eagles, villains of the league right now. They got a lot to prove. Everybody's rooting against them. I say for them, Dallas has to be locked. Offense has to be locked. Gators are playing really well right now, so it's going to be a tough matchup. So, yeah, Dallas got to pitch well if they're going to win. On the Gators side, Sawyer's got to pitch well, and then they just got to keep hitting like they're doing.
Okay. Levi?
They're going to have an X factor for both sides, and I think on the Eagles side, it's going to be Dan Schultz. He's had big moments this year already. He's looking for some more. I think he's going to be a big part of that Eagles offense. And on the Gators side, I think Dustin Staggs is going to be needed on offense as well. We saw him do very well on the mound in Chicago. I could see him maybe getting a little bit of pitching time here in this series. But yeah, I think Dustin Staggs for sure is going to be the X factor for the Gators.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, Tom, I think it's just going to be, it's going to come down to who scores more runs each game. That's pretty much it.
Got it.
The winning team's going to be the team that scores more runs. It's
a fact.
That is
it's a fact.
Yep.
I think in my head, I look at Dallas Allen for sure. Phenomenal player, phenomenal talent, both sides of the ball. I think the body language is a little questionable last series. I think that's why they're getting some of the hate that they are. He broke a bat. So I feel like if the Gators can get up early and get the Eagles sort of in their temper tantrum mode, we saw a couple of them throwing bats last series, then the Gators could take care of business. But if you get that Eagles offense going, they're tough to beat. And that's why I predict them in my bracket. So I think game one will tell us a lot. Again, once that Eagles offense engine starts churning, good luck stopping them, whether it's Sawyer or Staggs or someone else on the mound. But the Gators team surprised me all year. I'm kind of counting them out in this series. I don't quite know why. They were the 1 seed in this postseason, so we haven't seen them in the playoffs yet. I'm curious to see how they balance the workload on the mound. I almost feel like the streaks we've seen from Staggs are more consistent and like more foolproof than Sawyer, but at the same time, when Sawyer's on, he's really, really tough, a lot like Porter. So that'll be interesting. Offensively, I'm curious to see how Dallas goes at him. Like, does he pitch around Staggs like it's been the case a lot of the season because he is such a good bat? But the veterans like Chatty and Cheatham have been better this year, and those guys might need to step up in this series for the Gators. So I'm definitely intrigued by this one. I feel like I don't know a lot about the Gators because I haven't played this new-look Gators team. And the Eagles I'm so high on because I've played them for years, and I know exactly what they're about, and I know they're very tough to beat. So I'm sticking with my Eagles for my prediction, but I'm definitely rooting for the Gators. So definitely tune in this Friday, guys. Big video coming up, and then next week we'll be breaking down the World Series. Tickets to the World Series are still available. MLWWiffleBall.com. Definitely check that out for more information for those of you tuning in. One last big thank you to all of you who joined us on Saturday night for the live stream. We had a lot of fun and appreciate everyone who contributed with donations as well. So thank you all again, and we will see you all next Wednesday.
Pipe it up.